I remember the day everything changed aboard the USS Ronald Reagan. It was April 6, 2003, and the Pacific sun rose bright and clear. But beneath that calm surface, tension crackled. I was just finishing my routine when the alarm blared, rattling my nerves. All hands battle stations echoed over the intercom. Something was coming, and it would shock us all. As I rushed to my post, I saw the faces of my fellow sailors filled with confusion and fear. The air was thick with uncertainty. We were on high alert due to intelligence reports of an imminent attack from an enemy fleet. I felt the weight of dread settle in my stomach. My heart raced as I joined my crew on the flight deck, ready for whatever was to come. Suddenly, the radar operator shouted, "Contact. 3 enemy ships on the horizon." My blood ran cold. This was no ordinary attack. The captain ordered us to prepare for engagement. I grabbed my gear, adrenaline surging through my veins. We were trained for this, but nothing could prepare us for the chaos that followed. As we readied ourselves, a massive explosion rocked the ship. I stumbled, trying to regain my footing. Sirens wailed, and I could hear the panic rising among the crew. "We've been hit," someone shouted. The enemy had launched surprise missiles, and our defenses were failing. The realization hit me hard. We were in grave danger. The captain's voice boomed, "All hands battle alert." I could see the damage, smoke billowing from a section of the deck where the missile struck. The stakes had escalated from bad to worse. We were taking heavy fire, and the enemy was relentless. I glanced at my best friend Jake, who was manning a gun. His eyes reflected the fear we all felt. As we scrambled to respond, more explosions shook the ship. I gripped my weapon, determination pushing me forward as I took aim. But amidst the chaos, we heard the chilling news. The enemy had breached our defenses. It was a moment of sheer panic. "Brace for impact," the captain ordered, and I felt my heart drop. We were losing ground. The enemy ships loomed closer, and their fire was merciless. I could see the desperation on my comrades' faces as they fought to hold the line. Jake shouted for cover as rounds whizzed by us. The realization dawned. This was not just a battle. It was a fight for our lives. I gritted my teeth, pushing through the fear to focus on the task ahead. Then, in a shocking twist, we received word from the captain that there was a traitor among us. A mole had been feeding information to the enemy, making our situation even direr. I felt a chill run down my spine. Who could it be? The betrayal added another layer of chaos to an already dire situation. Trust was crumbling, and fear took hold. Just as I thought things couldn't get worse, our radar operator shouted, "Incoming missiles." The ship shook violently as we attempted evasive maneuvers. I clung to my weapon, praying for a miracle. The crew worked frantically, but the enemy was relentless. I felt the dread creeping back in. We weren't just losing, we were about to be overwhelmed. The captain ordered a counterattack, but the enemy's fire was too strong. One by one, my fellow sailors fell. I could see the horror in their eyes, and I felt a pang of despair. We were fighting not just for our ship, but for our very survival. I fired back, determined to avenge my fallen comrades. The stakes had reached a breaking point. Amidst the chaos, Jake and I spotted a group of enemy soldiers attempting to board our ship. I shouted for reinforcements, but the shouts of battle drowned me out. The situation felt hopeless. We were outnumbered, and I could feel the weight of despair pressing down on me. "We can't let them take us," I yelled, my voice barely above the din. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the ship. I was thrown off my feet, landing hard against the deck. Smoke filled the air and alarms blared. As I struggled to stand, I realized the extent of the damage. Our defenses were crumbling, and we were losing control fast. I felt a sense of urgency as I crawled back to my post. As I regained my footing, I saw that the enemy had taken advantage of our chaos. They were boarding, and I could hear the sounds of battle echoing through the ship. Panic surged through me as I realized we had been infiltrated. "Fall back," I shouted to my fellow sailors, but the enemy was already upon us. The fight became personal. I could see Jake grappling with an enemy soldier, fear flashing in his eyes. I rushed to help, my heart pounding. In that moment, everything else faded away. It was just us against them. I managed to take down the enemy soldier, but not without sustaining injuries. Pain shot through me, but I pushed it aside. As the battle raged on, we were forced to retreat deeper into the ship. I could hear the chaos around me, and I felt the weight of despair threatening to pull me under. "We have to regroup," I shouted, trying to rally my fellow sailors. We needed a plan, but time was running out. The enemy was closing in. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, we received unexpected reinforcements. A nearby naval vessel had picked up our distress call and was en route. Relief flooded through me, but I knew we had to hold on until they arrived. The battle was far from over, and I felt the pressure mounting. We had to survive, no matter the cost. With renewed determination, we fought back against the enemy. The tide began to turn, and I could see the fear in their eyes as we pushed them back. I remembered the faces of my fallen comrades, and I fought harder, driven by their memory. Each shot fired was a tribute to those we had lost. But just as victory seemed within reach, tragedy struck again. Our reinforcements were delayed by enemy fire, and I felt the despair creeping back in. The enemy was regrouping, and we had to act fast. "We need to barricade," I shouted, urging my fellow sailors to take cover. Time was running out, and we had to hold the line. The enemy launched another wave of attacks. I could feel the chaos escalating around me. I took aim again, my hand steady as I fired. But the realization hit me. We were outnumbered and outgunned. I felt a sense of hopelessness wash over me. "We can't let them win," I yelled, desperation fueling my resolve. As the battle continued, I spotted a familiar face in the chaos. It was Jake, fighting valiantly against overwhelming odds. I rushed to his side, and together we fought back, determined to protect each other. We were brothers in arms, and nothing would tear us apart. But the enemy's relentless assault was taking its toll. Suddenly, I heard a deafening roar. A missile struck the ship, and I felt the impact reverberate through my bones. I was thrown backward, and the world around me erupted in chaos. Smoke filled the air, and I struggled to regain my bearings. We were losing control, and I could feel the panic rising again. As I crawled back to my feet, I realized that we were on the brink of disaster. The ship was taking on water, and I could see the enemy advancing. "We have to evacuate," I shouted, but the chaos had swallowed my voice. My fellow sailors were fighting against despair, and I knew we had to find a way out. Just when I thought all was lost, a miracle happened. Our reinforcements arrived, guns blazing. The sight of their ship charging toward us filled me with hope. "We're saved," I yelled, but the battle was still fierce. We had to hold on just a little longer. The tide was turning, but we had to finish the fight. With our reinforcements supporting us, we launched a final counterattack. I could see the enemy faltering as we pushed them back. The chaos was still overwhelming, but we were fighting for our lives. I took aim, determined to protect my comrades. This was our moment. We would not let fear win. As the dust settled, we emerged victorious. The enemy retreated, and I collapsed onto the deck. Exhaustion washed over me, but the relief was palpable. We had faced unimaginable odds and survived. In that moment, I knew we were more than just sailors. We were a family forged in battle. As we celebrated our victory, I realized that this experience would forever shape who I was.